Hi, and welcome to episode 14 of Breaking Building Belonging. It is a memoir-driven leadership podcast, and we alternate between sharing character portraits that are more like a memoir with different learnings from that character, which we call Reflections on Reality. And then we do go deeper episodes that are related. This one's related back. This go deeper, called Finding Your Way on the Hero's Journey, is related back to the chapter we just did, the episode we just did called Panics, Pariahs, and Professors, which is about my Graham, where we learned a lot about grit. And what I share in this chapter is that at any given moment in time, you might find a fantasy novel on my bookshelf right next to a Seth Godin leadership book. If you observe my YouTube feed, you might see music videos interspersed with layman's level theoretical physics explanations, and my playlists look like someone spun a wheel and randomly picked podcasts from every genre. But as you've learned in previous chapters, the fantasy novel genre has a strong draw for me. The hero's journey is something that stays in my mind all the time, and is certainly indicated from the characters I've created, like Sergeant Stunad and Colonel O'Truth. So here's some food for thought that plays off the world of epic storytelling. As we embark on any new season of life, change, paradigm, or mission, we've each been sent on a hero's journey. For that hero's journey to be successful, we must have the grit of Graham. We must also recognize which part of the journey we're on. As I've confessed, I was oblivious to the hero's journey. I was quite stuck in survival mode for far too long. Perhaps if I had known more about the inner workings of this hero's journey, which I was so drawn to in books, TV, and movies, I would have made better decisions sooner. If you're unfamiliar with the journey, or the archetypal monomyth as it's called, it flows through various stages. It starts in the so-called ordinary world, where we are content with a rather limited awareness of the problem or change we're about to encounter, like I was. And we can kind of think of Luke Skywalker buying droids with his uncle on Tatooine, or Harry Potter waking up in his cupboard under the stairs. From there, we get a call to adventure, spurred on by increased awareness of the need to change. We don't need to refer to fantastical heroes to help us imagine this, do we? We're all keenly aware that the world is no longer what it once was, and none of us have faced the challenges we encounter today. If you're starting a journey or entering a season of change, the next few parts are probably where you might find yourself. They're earmarked by the fear and resistance to change that we feel on the inside, and a refusal of the call to action on the outside. I'd guess that there are very few of us who overtly refuse to step forward gallantly into the next part of the journey, but there are probably not many among us who see ourselves as Frodo rejecting his larger call to go on past Rivendell and take the river on its far-flung, treacherous journey. Still, there might be a kind of hesitation and confusion of Samwise, who wants to go back to being a gardener. In the swirl of change, we quickly lose our way. In the Matrix, Neo allows himself to be captured, rather than believing what Trini's telling him about the truth of the change from his ordinary world to the supernatural one. He would ultimately grow to master. Likewise, Sarah Connor bites the hand and runs away from Kyle, who's trying to save her from an unrelenting robot, bound to extinguish any hopeful future she or we might otherwise have in the Terminator. The stress and strain of this stage typically call each hero to overcome their confusion and fear, and seek a mentor to guide them into the next stage of the journey. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. Moving from the ordinary or old world to a new world is scary. It's an adventure that none of us have been on yet. And so there may be, or seem to be, no likely guide. There may seem to be no Haymitch to school Katniss in the ways of the Hunger Games. There may appear to be no Obi-Wan, our only hope. But we do have one thing. We have each other. While some of us may have been given clues as to our quest, just like all those heroes, we've not been given the whole story laid out in stark detail for us to follow. Instead, we're left with hurdles to climb, obstacles to overcome, and new pathways to forge. While we may be looking for supernatural aid and one clear mentor to emerge, we may have to find several mentors instead of one clear one. In this age of flattening, there may not be an obvious person with the formal title of Jedi Master, Headmaster, or Victor. We may have to seek another archetype, the ally or the companion. We have this resource for the journey in great and talented quantities. We have our family, our friends, our community, our teammates, and each other. So as we commit to change and cross the threshold, we'll need to experiment with new conditions, try things on, and suffer through tests and trials. The story will not be spelled out for us. It will unfold chapter by chapter, sentence by sentence, word by word. The ordeals, the road back, the birth, the rebirth, the redemption, the return, and mastery lie before us. First, our task is to answer the call, put the ring around our neck, volunteer as tribute, and take off on a journey where all we know has been radically changed. All we are sure of is that our help is desperately needed in the new world where we've been thrust into. The people, or someone in our case, are those we fight for and alongside every day, and the team we're a part of that strives to be better than yesterday in this new stage or age. So the someone is each of us who strives to be all we have the potential to become. If only someone, a hero, like you, will answer the call. Be well, my friends. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'll catch you next time with a new character portrait. We're going to meet my grandfather, Peepop, in Commendations, Chips and Chits. Till then, I want to see you soar.